It helps to be unmuted, doesn't it, Mo? This is great start. We're doing good. We've started and I got everything wrong. Hey!
Technical issues.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, for another season, another year of Let's Talk Borovets. Mo.
We were again. It seems like only last year we were doing exactly the same thing.
It was. So a seismic change has happened since last year.
What a
Something
shift,
that's
sir.
almost earth-shatteringly changed, which I think we need to cover before we go any further, before we bring our guest. Last year, you were on 2 planks, and the plan for this season?
Oh, I'm going to the dark side. I shall be taking my planks with me, but I mean, my fear of snowboard. Well, you know what's happened in the summer because of lockdown in the UK and stuff. Started using skateboards again on my 53rd birthday, which was back in March, because what actually happened was that was just when it all started. I was due to come out. It all happened on the week I was due to come out. And I sat there in dismay as the whole of the resort shut down while I was watching it, clutching my tickets in my hand going, but I'm going on Thursday. And it wasn't till the Wednesday night when we actually went, we can't go. So it was like literally the night before. So anyway, so that all that malarkey's over. And then we got into the summer and I just started skateboarding. I was given an electric skateboard by an Australian company. And I fed a lot of it onto the one of the Facebook pages in Borovets.
Yep.
And do you know, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought, do you know, this feels. Do you know? I think you get to a certain age and you get like a fear factor sink in a little bit. And I've had a couple of spills on my skis, nothing mad, and I still enjoy skiing. But I just feel more comfortable on one plank, and I guess that's because I spent a lot of my childhood. Not snowboarding, but skateboarding. So I just feel really comfortable. It feels quite natural to me, but also I do have a hip issue, which I thought was going to be a problem with snowboarding. But it actually turns out that it's more of an advantage for me on the snowboard than it is on skis with the hip problem due to, when you're skiing, it's a lot of hip action and waist turning and stuff. But on a snowboard, of course, you don't really have that kind of, that spin. And I've just
you're going to find out. You're going to find out, as you say. It has a very different action. So we have 2 guests, although one has disappeared. I'm sure they'll be back shortly. This is great. We're always starting with the fun. But anybody who's watching, please tell us where you're watching from. Comment in Facebook, comment in YouTube. Tell us where you're watching. Tell us when you're planning to go out. If you're planning to go out this year, and questions. I'd say we've got the world-leading experts, but unfortunately they didn't turn up. You've got us instead. So I'd like to introduce our guests. Hopefully one will be back in a second. We seem to be having a bit of transmission issues over to Bulgaria, but I'd like to introduce somebody who I met I think 4 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago in Borovets, and stayed in contact on a regular basis. Someone I've tried to book for this show, I think about 4 times. But during the season is one of the busiest people to get hold of. And that's Derek.
Welcome, hello, everybody.
Derek.
Thank you.
So, Derek, while we wait for our other guest, I think she's uncorking a few bottles. Can you just give everybody a background of who you are and where you're joining us from?
So I'm joining you from a village about 25 minutes away from Borovets called Goverdartsy.
Right.
I originally, most recently, I spent about 18 years working for the Royal Bank of Scotland in Southampton.
Oh, I know very well. Southampton, I mean. Yeah. Not RBS.
And so you left, and how many years did you say you've been now in Borovets?
Full time living here. This Christmas will be 3 years.
Right. Okay. So, and what brought you out? What was it that made you get that decision to come out and move to Bulgaria?
Obviously snowboarding. So I originally came on holiday, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 years ago. Really loved the place, and then decided to get a place out here to plan for retirement, and finally managed the semi-retired status at 43.
So let's put that into perspective. We can all work it out. Ex-bank manager, the markets go to pot, and you are able to retire abroad. So we know how it all works. We know how it all works, Derek. And you're living the life that the rest of us are just watching.
Derek.
The good news is, just before I go into Derek, good news is we've got our other guest has rejoined us with, I'm sure, a few glasses of wine. Carol, can you hear us now?
Hi.
She can hear us. Great.
I can. Sorry,
Mo.
I've got a feeling that they're using all the electricity that should be running the transmitter that supplies my broadband to actually run the snow cannons at the top of Yastebets. So, yeah.
That's how close she is to the slopes, everyone.
Do you want to, Carol? Do you want to tell us a little the viewers where you are and your how you come to be here today?
I'm in a little village called Shepochin. It's just to the east of Samakov. So I have a stunning view of the slopes at Borovets. I came out to do a season after sort of retiring, not quite as young as Derek, but pretty close. And I loved it so much that I haven't been back.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely. Mo, you were about to ask on to Derek a few questions there before I
Derek, I wanted to know. Obviously, being in. Are you originally from Hampshire?
No, from Edinburgh.
Oh, okay. I wasn't far off. So, I mean, that's quite a pivotal change in your life, isn't it? From going from being a bank manager to moving out to Bulgaria. Two questions for you. Number one, what made you choose Borovets or Bulgaria? Is the first question. The second question is, what was the pivotal thing that made you take that leap of faith?
So I chose Bulgaria because it's where I came to learn snowboarding, and came out here and thought, yeah, this is a really nice place. It's not mega expensive, either for the snowboarding or indeed buying a property, and it's something I could achieve. Whereas if I went to near another resort elsewhere in Europe, there's no way I would have been able to do it.
Yeah. So was it mostly the snowboarding that brought you out here, or was it a lifestyle? Or
well, initially it was the snowboarding, and then it was absolutely the lifestyle.
Cool. How does it differ from being back in the UK?
Oh, I don't even know where to start with that question.
Okay.
Hugely different. Hugely different. I look out of my bedroom window and I can see the top station of the gondola, and it goes from there pretty much round to the Seven Lakes, and that's my view.
So having said that, the obvious thing it is the views and the landscape and that sort of thing. But being from Scotland, anyway, that's not a lot different, is it?
No, the culture is very different, but the actual landscape in certain parts of Scotland is not a lot different. Yeah.
So you're semi-retired, but from what I've seen of you and what I've heard of you, you're not really retired, are you? Are you just doing things? One of the things I was always told that if you do a job that you love doing, then you never work a day in your life, which is exactly what I'm doing. Is that where you're at now, or sometimes you have to take on things just to fill the wallet, or you just choose?
I went from earning quite a lot of money to earning or not having as much money, but the life is so much better. And the waking up every day in a mountain village, looking at the mountain in all different kinds of lights, whether it be snow on the top or brilliant sunshine or even the wind and rain that we get in June and July, it's completely different and absolutely fantastic.
You mean it's not sideways like it is in Edinburgh?
No, it's not sideways. It's usually straight down and very hard.
Yeah. I mean, of course, as well, and you've got the best of both worlds, haven't you? Because it's not like being in the UK where maybe I'm on the south coast in Kent, so I get a half decent summer. I get a half week of summer every year. But over there, you get kind of like in the winter you get the snow, and in the summer you get the med weather. It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, we get a really good summer. It's not as hot as maybe near the coast, but it's certainly shorts, t-shirts, and flip flops for the majority of the summer.
Yeah. So what about now? Is it starting to feel the bite now?
Well, I've got snow on my lawn outside.
Yeah.
So
this is what
we've got a quick video for this, just for people who are asking the question of what's it like out there at the moment, this video was shot yesterday, so I'm just going to show you to see what it looks like now.
Hope I will not make some
Wow.
So we have to thank the owners of Ollie Molly, who trekked their way up. Officially, those slopes are not open, as we know, but as you can see from part of that, they're already being groomed for part of the slopes already been done. So,
and it's only the 9th.
It is. And the rumours that my understanding is it's still on track for official opening on about the 21st. Is that right? I think, or 22nd?
No, the 19th.
19th is when the slopes open.
It's a normal day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Saturday the 19th, and then restaurants, etc., are due to open on the 21st when we come out of our current measures.
Yeah.
I've got
great.
Jeff tuned in from Gateshead, and he said, Geordies can board and ski too.
There you go. It's great. And if anybody's out there wants to comment, please talk to us. Just write in the chat. We'll get your messages up. It'd be great to see it. Great to see the people, whoever our regulars from last season. The regulars are coming next season. Be great to hear from you.
Yeah, especially we welcome any newbie comments as well. If you're new, it's your first time, you just seen us, or you're coming to Borovets for the first time, chuck something in the text and we'll see if we can follow it. Do you know what Sod Law's going to have it, Leo, don't you? This is going to be the best season ever in the last 6 years.
Well, that's it. We'll see where we are. So just touching on it, and we don't want to, as none of us have got crystal balls here. We don't know what is actually going to happen, and that's not our call and understanding of what's going to happen around there. But as you said there, Derek, the resort is getting ready. Is that the best description?
The resort is absolutely getting ready. There's the Borovets, Borosport. I know have had a meeting with government, and there's been measures put in place to protect people, certainly in and around the lifts and being on the mountain. I have to admit, I'm not 100% on what's going to happen with the bars and restaurants, but I do know that they're being allowed to open with measures come the 21st. And I also know that the bars and restaurants are all, because I'm up there fairly regularly, taking measures to make sure that they are in line with what's been required of them. And there's also I see activity of people setting up more outside facilities. So there's a couple of new bars opening, one outside Flora and one outside Ella, all with quite substantial outside seating.
So because what used to be that little restaurant at the Flora is opening again.
The little building at the entrance to the Flora, that was Balkan Snowboards.
Yeah. I remember years back on that. They used to have snowboard displays outside that. And there's like a water feature, and they made the water feature into a snowboard track with a ramp on it. You know,
yes, it did. Yeah,
was that fantastic? So I mean,
you see the mark on the rail.
I think the big thing is here, and look, let's be quite frank. Borovets is not the world's most crowded resort anyway, if you're out of school season. And nearly everywhere has outside bars and tables. You know, top of the mountain. I've never felt cramped or crowded in Borovets, even when it was peak. You know, and it's always been quite nice. So I think, as far as safety goes, for COVID, it's probably one of the best places to be on holiday.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's got only one enclosed lift, gondola, and the seats on that are outward facing, not inward. So it couldn't be better, really. Yeah,
it's covered, isn't it?
Yeah. I heard there's measures being put in place about the queuing of various different things. Have either of you two seen that in situ yet?
Yeah, I posted a photograph with snowy outside the gondola. They've put more railings so that people can't push in, and they've put lines every 2 meters, which of course you won't see when they're covered in snow. But it worked for the and the thing is that if people don't obey the rules, then things get shut down. And I think as skiers and snowboarders, we really appreciate the fact that we want to be there.
Yeah.
So I think it will happen.
I want to just move us on slightly and look at, you know, we talked about the snow, we looked at there, and I just want to see if I can show people what we're looking at the moment, the current layout of what the snow's due to come in. So I'm just bringing this up, and hopefully we can see this now.
I think there's some due tomorrow.
So this is the one I used, which starts. The big thing that we're looking at is the purple on the right hand side down the corner, and that's showing how much snow is going to be coming in. So Borovets is the little red dot, and you can see that we're getting a big dump due. There's some due Thursday, Friday, then Sunday and Monday, and it looks like a big dump the week after that. So I've noticed on the webcams, again, the page that I use for webcams is this one that many of you may be familiar with, is the Borovets webcams site. Obviously, it's at night time, so it's a bit dark, but what we can actually see is that we're already seeing snow on the ground everywhere. There's not a lot at the top, is the only slight thing. So if you're after that, you know, that's the Pete's page, Borovets webcams co.uk. It's always frustrating to me that we haven't got cannons at the top at the moment.
Yeah. But maybe with the new electricity substation in Samakov, increasing the amount of electricity that's available, because they always said that the reason they couldn't have them at the top was there wasn't enough electricity to go around. It might happen in a couple of years.
I mean, you know, crisis aside or whatever, the personal side of what we've all gone through last year, the innovation and changes that we've seen, not least of which we've managed to persuade Mo to come over to the dark side. You know, the first show of Let's Talk Borovets, we've got 4 people who all bored, when last year I was the minority. So it's you know, as you say, Carol, this could be the opportunity to put in place. Is it the electricity or the water that needs to be up there?
Only it's the electricity that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is an interesting comment. Thank you, Ben. Says you shouldn't need them at the top. Sort of agree with you. But I've been there when they're just, if there were cannons up the top now, those slopes would be ready because they are cold, but there's no cannons up there, so they're not prepped. And there comes a time when it can be a little bit patchy in certain areas. It'd be really nice even if they could get the green, although that green on a board.
I think one of the interesting things to note, and from some comments that were brought up last winter when the season started quite late, although it did start bang on, we guarantee it's going to be there at a certain time, and it did, but it was kind of later. Then people start saying, "Oh, the snow seems to be getting later and later. It seems, every year goes by. I've been watching it." Well, this is just blown all that out of the water again, isn't it? But the one thing I see that's recurring, you can never predict it. You just can't predict it, and it's going to be there at some time. And yet, March this year was probably one of the best the highlights of the season, wasn't it? Apart from
the thing about the
until about the 16th, yeah.
So I have access to snow data for the last 20 odd years. And I spent ages doing a nice little spreadsheet and a nice little chart, and it wasn't as bad as everybody thought it was. People say, "Oh, it's terrible." People's emotions come into it too much.
Yeah,
just, as a scientist.
Holiday,
yeah.
I mean, for you too, it's a bit different for me. You two are living there. It doesn't matter if it's a bad day today. Tomorrow, the day after will be fine. I think for me,
always matters, Leo. It always matters.
I sit there looking. My ritual starts around about September. I start looking at the webcams, working out, and looking and seeing. And that's how it works. It's just how it works.
Leo, when your income and your livelihood depends on the resort, then it's as important to you as it is to people that are just coming out for a week. Yeah, am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hugely important. The rents, etc., in Borovets, a lot of people won't understand. They're absolutely astronomical. And yes, it's more expensive than if you go to Samakov, for example. And there's a reason for that. It's they're really, really hammered on the outgoings, and they have to work out exactly when in the season they're going to break even. So if you've got a season that's affected like last year, even though it was a quieter point in the season, it still had a dramatic impact.
Well, it just it's that bubbly that, isn't it? It's the money that just rolls you over that makes the difference.
This is why a pasty is twice as expensive on Newquay seafront as it is in Truro.
Yeah, but they're able to open all year round. These guys are only able to really operate for 4 months, and once you start minusing the weeks at the beginning and the end, that really turns into more like 3 months, 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And then some of them, quite a lot of them, actually go and work over at Sunny Beach in the summer. And this year, that's been totally screwed. So people should really be, trying to spend lots of money.
My question is that I want to ask you Derek, and Carol, you can answer this one as well. Have we lost any key players in Borovets this year?
By that, do you mean? I'm guessing you mean restaurants, etc.
Yeah. I'm a foodie. Anything to do with food?
I haven't heard of anything personally. I think it would be. I'd be surprised if there weren't some people who don't operate this season.
Be some.
However, I think that anybody who can will. But I haven't personally heard of any actual casualties people who are not who have lost their business, for example.
Which is
I think some people are very, very close, and that's why it's so important that if people can make it out, that they do come.
Definitely.
I think that sums it up in my mind as well. It's like if you can, and we're not suggesting anything that's it's all got to be according to the rules. But if you can, it would, to me, just getting out there is going to be worthwhile.
Yeah. But if you can just come and eat and drink in the restaurants and not go on the marathon, that would be absolutely ideal for me.
Well, what I think what was interesting, I thought was fascinating, was what you said earlier about the fact that that restaurant in the Flora, and those of you who know the Flora, I mean, I've stayed there a number of times. I know Mo, you're a regular there.
I'm due there.
They effectively got a restaurant in the basement, which well, it's so heavily chlorinated, that restaurant, that because it's right next to the pool. But they've got two other restaurants. They've got two other restaurants, haven't they? I've never in all my time I've ever seen that bar outside being used. So it's interesting that they're looking at changing the layout.
The last time it was open was 4 years ago. Yeah, the Spot. Yeah. It's 4 years ago that Dimitri of Balkan Snowboards had it. So yeah.
You mean the most amazing snowboard manufacturer in the world?
Yeah. So,
oh yeah, exactly.
My intention is to get.
The most amazing one.
My intention is to get the guys, Ollie Molly. I've already booked in when I get there to be hiring, because they're hiring out Balkan board. So
they are, yeah.
Is that right?
They are.
Yeah.
Good enough. Though. This is, I think.
Say that again. Sorry, Carol.
I said, are you good enough to hire a Balkan board?
Well, there is a video of me. They loaned me one last year and it's like I went from a brand new Burton that I normally hire to a brand new that, and it was just completely different. Quick shout out to some of the others that that it's great to see the people that out there are working. Just to say
Suzanne.
Yeah, hi Suzanne.
Yeah, so she wants to say that Chris Borovets transfers, still looking forward to seeing everyone. So that's really, really cool. Just a quick note, I had a conversation with EasyJet the other day, and I spoke to their office. Now, there's been some things in the forums about people getting flights cancelled, and I indeed had mine cancelled as well. But when I spoke to them, they said, if you go and have a look at your flight and try and rebook, the chances are you can either go the day before or the day after and come back a day late or come back a day earlier. What they're doing is they're just moving people into flights that aren't full. Because obviously we know there's not a lot of people that is going this year as there was. So they're actually filling up planes rather than wasting fuel on empty planes with people on. So they're not actually just saying, no, sorry, the flights are all done. They're actually just moving. And some of it, and in my case, would have been I could have had a day early, day late. It means a little bit of hassle, changing your hotel bookings around and that sort of thing. But it's worth doing. It's it's your holiday. Why not just get in there and just tweak those dates a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the packages always are, typically a Saturday to Saturday. But the transfer people like that are very, very amenable. Everyone that I've ever used, all the transport companies. Derek, you've got a relationship with one of them, I believe.
Yes, with Book and Travel.
Yeah, and these guys have all been, in my experience, have been exceptional in just being flexible, getting you from Sofia and back up again.
There's no problem with flexibility, and I'm sure for Chris and Suzanne also. The local transport companies or transfer companies are really flexible and able to make changes and make sure they're there for you. So whoever you book with, I would suggest booking local because it helps the locals, but also they tend to be smaller companies, so easier to deal with, nicer people.
Yep.
So quite a few of your friends are on, Derek. Some of the comments are unprintable. Some of them are getting close. Would that be
something Ben Morris by any chance?
Yeah. While this isn't necessarily a family-friendly show, it's also there's a sort of a level, and
What's he written this time? So I've seen a few comments from him.
It's all right. They're just having a bet at the moment.
Are you seeing stuff? Do you see the comments earlier than we do then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm putting them up on the screen. So there you go. So there you go. But it's part that.
Are you sponsored by Carnavat?
That's it. That in my mind is the whole point of it.
Wine.
That sums up Borovets, and Mo mentioned it earlier. You know, Borovets is not a big resort. It's also not a place. Yes, you can walk around it. Yes, there is enough space around there for people to open restaurants, etc. But the point is, it's a great place to meet people who are, that are friendly, and that's why we're all going there.
Well, I was due to go on my own for the first time.
Sorry,
I was due to go on my own for the first time in January without my cameraman. So
I went, as I said, probably about, I can't remember actually, from the first time 10 or 11 years ago. And the first year I went with a group, and that's when I was introduced to Borovets. And then after that, I just went back on my own, mostly. And I this will make you even more jealous, Mo. Whilst I was working for the bank, I used to have about 5 trips to Borovets each season.
and
most of I did it on my own because of that reason.
Yeah. I can do that. I can actually do that, but the bank won't like it.
It is there. So we talked. Some people have asked. There was a question here that came up, and I've now got it. It's great, isn't it, when you can't got to find the question again, which is about the resort itself and the number of lifts. So I'm just going to try and bring up that question. Here it is. There you go. Thank you, from Maleska. And I'm just going to show up for those that are aware, the resort and where we are. So my expectation on the 19th, depending, is I think it looks like we've had enough. Well, we will have enough to have the whole of the bottom open. Any thoughts, Carol, Derek?
My predictions would be the whole of the what people term as the reeler section, and that doesn't include the slopes off to the left of the reeler section. I can't remember their exact name, but we call it the tube, and out
to the left, the Sinyakov. The ones which are horrible on the board.
Well, not horrible, but
they have actually widened some of the ski run there, particularly when it crosses over the reds. So it should make it easier. It means that there won't be a load of beginners or what have you blocking
try
the way.
And zoom in a bit. I don't know if you can see me zooming in, but I'm going to try and see. So you're talking about here. I hope, hopefully you can see that. Yep. Where the cannons and the lights are, where the green crosses those three slopes. Yeah, for the night skiing. You said they've widened that area. Yeah, they've been very busy. And I rode up because if the lifts aren't open, I'm looking to do this on horseback. I've been riding a lot this summer. My God, it's a beautiful place. Went up to Black Rock yesterday, and there was quite a lot of, the snow is really coming along. The ground is nice and cold. So could be. Can you answer this question that Sam has put up there?
I'd have said, have they widened all the way across all the crossing? No, not all of them, just the worst ones, which basically is the Martinovi Baraki 2 crossing and a bit of the 3. 2 was the really bad one, I think. Yeah. 3 is the one where they extended. 2 was the really bad one.
So just to go back to the previous question, my expectation and prediction is that the reeler side, everything will be open apart from, and I've got the map here in front of me now, Sitniakovo 2 and Sitniakovo 1, which are the runs that go under the Sitniakovo chair.
Yeah.
And the one, if you come off the chair and go straight on over what effectively is the start of the ski road, down through the trees and then take a sharp left, also known as the Tube. I would not expect that to be open. Yashtrebets, I'd expect Yashtrebets 2 and 3 to be open. And I suspect...
I'm just going to move over to that on the map. There,
I suspect that 1 will not be open.
There's still no cannons on there, are there?
There are no cannons on there. There may be enough snow, but historically I haven't seen it open at the beginning of the season. And then Markujic, I think they may have open the green for where the beginner's drag is.
Yeah,
that would be my expectation for opening day. However, what I would say is last year, we've got more snow this year earlier. Last year there was basically nothing, and lots of people, including myself, were getting quite worried. Come Boxing Day, I think it was, there was so much snow fell they almost opened Markujic immediately.
My car was stranded in Borovets for 3 days.
You saw some of the pictures I took in when we turned up early January. There was like 3 or 4 foot of snow on top of cars. You couldn't see cars. They were just mounds of snow with cars underneath, and it was absolutely amazing. And it was fantastic. You know, in fact, it got so bad at one point they shut the top of the mountain. I got onto the gondola. I'd got to the top, and as I went over the top to come back down the Masala pathway, they shut it behind us, and then I couldn't see anything in front of me, and I was kind of stuck. And I thought, how the hell am I going to get down? So I just had to sort of I had about 2 foot vision. I just had to feel my way down to, you know, all the way down to, and as I got down to the Masala pathway, then everything cleared. But it was just so bad, you know.
I think that's it. As you say, what I've always found about Borosports who run all the lifts, etc., they work overnight. They work incredibly hard to get a lot of the stuff open as fast as they can. And I know that last year they had exactly the same. They got it all open. They got it all working. The quality of the equipment has just, in the 10 years I've been going, has got better and better and better, with the exception you mentioned earlier, Carol, about the gondola. That's probably the last bit of relic of an old time. But it
We've lost Carol.
I think Mo's stopped. Look at that. I think
we've
lost Mo.
No, he's back.
Back again. Yeah, you said it was retro, Mo.
Love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
That's great.
To me, that's part. I know you might see it as antiquated, but to me, it's part of the charm of the resort. I just love that, you know, like 1960s, just that. But then I'm a retro person anyway. I like my retro, so.
I think coming back to something you were saying earlier, and now it's more and more of it's clicking in my head here, Derek. You know, it's like I always like the Salamander. It's one of the restaurants I like to always go every time. Once a year, once a season, I go to the Salamander. It's one of my last. It's a ritual I have. But the Salamander's got loads of open outdoor space, and it could just be a completely different place this time, because it's got all of that area out there, which you just don't sit in or whatever. So
there is nothing like being sat outside a restaurant in minus 20 degrees with your balaclava on and everything, and drinking hot soup and having a beer. It's just
I'd say that there's a possibility that Carol's beer would freeze, but that means it has to stay in the glass longer than 15 seconds.
Okay.
Oh, cheers to that, Leo.
That's it. I mean, there is a few questions on there. There was
one thing you've got to remember, this is a brilliant export of Bulgaria. It's the most amazing red wine. Is that the Merlot you're drinking there, Derek?
Oh.
No, this is the Mavrud.
This has to be said. The Bulgarian red table wines are incredibly cheap and incredibly fantastic. They are just so good.
This 3.5 liters was 14 levs.
Just to put that into context, what are we talking about? About £6, £7, £6?
No, about £7.
Yeah,
£7.
Yeah, maybe 6.5, 7.
It's
you can buy a bottle of that
amazing.
over here.
I mean, and that's it, you know. And as we, we had a really interesting last season. We had Jim on talking about some of the restaurants which are outside of the centre of Borovets and the prices that he pays at the local restaurants. And as you said, the two of you, you know, Carol, I know outside that window that we can see, which is black now, you can see the slopes. I think that's the window you see the slopes from, isn't it? Behind you.
That one. Yep.
Yeah. And from there you can go and all to these restaurants that are for next to nothing in comparison to what I mean, to make your eyes water, the two of you. I went down to the chip shop here where I live in Northwood last week just to get
a fish and chip shop.
A fish and chip shop. A portion of chips is £3 now in the UK.
Wow.
You want to come here? You want to come here
in London?
Like in my chip shop.
Well, I remember a portion of chips in the Folly Douche 10 years ago. It came up on my Facebook memory. Paid €10 for a portion of chips in the Folly Douche. So
it is just a different world in that respect, and that's why it's great to be able to talk to people like yourselves who are out there and know that, as you saw from the video that we showed earlier, and more is now she's jumping up and down. She's ready with those snowboards to start getting them out. You saw that earlier, did you, Derek?
Yes, I did.
They're going to be very happy.
They are exceptional boards. I have 2 of them, and they are absolutely unbelievable in comparison to. I had a very high end LibTech before, and the LibTech didn't even come anywhere near.
Did I hear right? You're doing splits as well this year?
Yeah, I've had a split board for 3 years now. Didn't get to use it last year because the plan was to do it in March. Mo's got a toy.
Mo's got is that your longboard or is that your powered one? No, it's just the ordinary one.
Well, this is one of the longest skateboard. Well, not one of one of the longer skateboards, and this is a Bangro, but this is a dance board, but it's like a 9-ply, really nice board. I just thought I'd show you because this is not dissimilar in size to a snowboard, and it has wheels.
No, that is not similar in size to a snowboard.
I think snow skates are going to be things.
It's about 4.5 foot.
You know, it's like a snowboard.
You're on about those things that look like ice skates?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Okay. I'm probably best not to comment on that. I might get a little bit off the family vibe.
I think what's interesting as well, going back to the food thing, and I often see whenever it pops up, there's always a lot of talk of, you should pop in the Samakov because it's really cheap if you want to eat and stuff like that, which is great. And I think everybody should do it once while they're on holiday, but that doesn't support the resort.
It doesn't at all.
No, it's about supporting the resort, and it's now even though it will be more expensive in the resort, but it's not a touch on what you're going to pay for anything back in the UK. People kind of forget that.
It isn't, and it's become a bit of a trend to go down to Samakov and have a meal down in Samakov, and that's absolutely fine. And obviously, the businesses in Samakov benefit from that. But I can guarantee you their rates are absolutely nowhere near what it costs to have a place in Borovets. And what most people won't realise is that the majority, I'm not saying all, the majority are not owned in Borovets; they're rented. And the rents are very high. So it's really, really important if we want to if we want to keep Borovets going, that and have the places we like to go to, even if it's only once in a holiday, and we want to see that place there again next year, that we go in and use them.
Yeah, I mean, because the big points about Borovets are, first of all, it's nowhere near the price of the Alps. You get decent skiing at a decent price. The food is nowhere near the price of the Alps. You get decent food at a decent price, and it's really, really friendly. If you don't support that, then you're going to have to start going paying 3 or 4 times the amount that you're paying now to go to the Swiss Alps or somewhere like that to ski. So it always been really important to me.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about going down to Summercop, if you're going to go down to Summercop for an evening, go down and do the ice skating. You know,
I saw that.
Do something.
I saw that, Carol, that they've opened the ice skating rink. Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Might have to bring my ice skates with me next time then.
Outdoor ice skating rink, it's, you know.
Well, I'm from an ice hockey background. That's where
at least you'll be helping the taxi drivers as you go down there and back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So this has been a great first episode. It's great to the tech at the beginning was basically left it where I shouldn't have, but that's life. It's been nice to see Derek, a person that I've been out boarding with a number of times. Carol, it's great to see you, a person I've also spent time with in Borovets, you know, and I am surely looking forward to it. As we said before, we don't have a crystal ball. We do not know exactly what the rules are going to be. We know from everything that everybody's saying to us here and other places that the people in charge at Borovets are taking every precaution and they're getting everything ready.
Well,
and fingers crossed, it's going to come off.
Italy's having some awesome snow at the moment, so you know.
They did announce today that they are actually going to open on the 21st, 22nd, whatever it is, the bars and restaurants. That was from the health minister. So fingers crossed.
I know we said that we wouldn't talk about politics, but I think it's important to say that the Bulgarian government are very much in support of all of the snow resorts, the winter resorts in Bulgaria. And they are doing everything they can, and we see it here because we get the local posts and things translated. They're doing everything they can to make sure that it's open and is running for very good reasons. I'm sure everybody can imagine.
Absolutely. So I think this has been a great time. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for taking your time tonight. I know, Carol, you're off doing something in a minute, if I remember rightly. But I can't remember what
serious
it is.
Pilates.
Having another wine, I imagine.
Pilates. We're all getting ready to...
the gyms are closed at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I've been going to the gym 3 times a week to get ready for the season, and now they're closed. So... yeah.
Just as a reminder to everybody, when I was showing earlier, I was showing the Borovets webcam website. Please use that. That's got all the links to the other ones that I showed, the links to the weather maps, what lifts, etc. So when all that opens, it will all be on there on that page. So that's something that Pete put together. Thank you for those that have joined us from the various different groups. We look forward to seeing you in the season. We look forward to seeing everybody and enjoying themselves. So, guys, thanks again for being here tonight. And
thanks, Derek. Thanks, Carol.
Myself, Derek, and Mo. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Carol.
Cheers, everybody.
See you soon.
Cheers.